Midday News. And coming up in the bulletin today, leading member of the Convention People's Party, Kwame Jantwa, urges persons implicated in the infamous Ejapadia document to sue, warning that failure to do so will tarnish their image.
Those whose names have been mentioned, they should take it to court. They should do something about it.
Also coming up in the bulletin, University of Cape Coast Vice Chancellor calls bluff of University's council as he serves notice to continue to serve extended term in office. We'll tell you more. And later, did President Akufo-Addo just predict the winner of the December 7 elections like he did for the Ododo-Dio seat?
Ododo-Dio hano. Motua mamia. Na motua manila ante vanderpool.
Well, he's done it again.
We'll bring you more on that particular score. And later, we'll tell you why some people are drawing parallels to this. Also coming up in the bulletin today, the former local government minister and immediate past chairman of the NDC has downplayed the significance of the Road Ministry's latest flagship program dubbed Maintain My Road Initiative, describing the calls for citizens to report bad roads as impractical.
You cannot tell me that you are bringing in some equipment and when somebody send a short code, the next day the road.
No, but they do assessment.
It is not practical.
We've got details of all of these stories and more coming up for you here on the Starr Midday News. Do stay tuned. Thank you once again for joining us here on the Starr Midday News. My name is Lantam Papanko. Now, leading member of the Convention People's Party, Kwame Jantwa, has urged persons implicated in the infamous Ejapadia document to sue in order to clear their name. He warns that failure to do so will tarnish their reputation. President Akufo-Addo, during his address at the Ghana Reports Summit on dealing with misinformation and disinformation in election 2024, refuted the allegations of state capture, describing the Ejapadia document as a propaganda piece. Have a listen to the president.
Run up to the 2008, 2012, and 2016 presidential elections. And Madam Sani, I'm not here to settle scores. I was the target of numerous false and malicious stories aimed at attacking my credibility and integrity. In 2008, baseless allegations of drug trafficking were spread, along with numerous rumors about my health, intended to cast doubt on my ability to serve as president. President Kufuor was also accused in 2008 of having sold all of Ghana's gold reserves. Again, the 2012 election saw false reports of my alleged arrest in London for drug possession and fabricated quotes designed to stir ethnic tensions. In 2016, it was alleged by sympathizers of the opposition that I had killed my late wife. Today, with a few months to the December 2024 elections, they are at it again. A fabricated document entitled Ejapadia is being peddled around by operatives of the opposition as evidence of a grand scheme by my party to annex the assets of the state. These experiences underscore the importance of discerning truth from falsehood and the need for all of us to remain vigilant against the dangers of misinformation and disinformation.
So we just listened to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo there. Meanwhile, private legal practitioner and member of the CPP, Kwame Jantwa, believes failure by persons implicated in the document to sue will negatively affect them. He spoke on the review segment on the Morning Star.
When you read parts of the foreword, it indicates that from time immemorial, they have been what? The top class, and others have come to impose themselves on them. And now Nana has come, he is going to make sure that what is theirs, they get. And I've just paraphrased. Read it. Look, let's not take things. We take things for granted in this country so much.
So you believe this is an
Well,
actual
I
plan
said-
and an
listen,
actual blueprint
it's not that I
that was
believe.
authored by
It's
some
not that
people
I
in the
believe.
Achim
I
area
said not that
and the
I
NPP
believe. I'm going according
to
to
control the
what
state.
I am reading. I'm going according to what I'm reading, and I'm saying those whose names have been mentioned, they should take it to court. They should do something about it to clear their name for once.
So you've just listened to Kwame Jantua, who is a leading member of the Convention People's Party, and a lot of you have been reacting on social media to this Ejapadia document. Nana Ama Akwa is in the studio. She's got some of the details from comments on social media. Nana Ama, what have people been saying about this?
Hi there, Lantam. Well, people have been busy typing. When we go over to Facebook, Tiny says, confuse the confusers. We also have Ibe, who says, if it's a lie, then take them to court. He's siding with Kwame Jantua there. Now, Brantia says, as for me, I believe it 100 million times. Evan says, is he the one to tell me whether to believe or not to believe? He is simply insulting our intelligence. Susanna says that we will disregard it, please. Jamal adds he doesn't believe the book, but everything in it has been implemented. So the question is, where from the book? Where from indeed? Abdul says, when you speak ill about your opponent, people should believe you. But when your opponent speaks ill about you, we should disregard it. Please go and come again. When we move over to X, formerly Twitter, Kwerku says that he cannot tell the public to disregard while everything is playing out perfectly. We have Danny, who says, a week to exam. Them give you apport on all the papers. You wrote first 3. The apport dropped. Ditto. Them came tell you to disregard it because it's fake. Will you? Will you indeed? Then we have Yao. One thing I've learned about politicians is that whenever they tell you to ignore, they tell you to ignore holds much merit. Ebo says if he maintains that it's not true, he should take the matter to court. But Lantam, if you do take this matter to court, who are you going to, be up against? We don't have any author. So what do we do?
That's the million-dollar question. Nana, thank you very much for bringing us the comments on social media. Let's stay on this a while longer because despite the rebuttal by the president, some believe that the Ejapadia documents could have an adverse effect on the NPP. Jonathan Asante is a political analyst and a lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, and he joins us for a further conversation on this subject. Good afternoon and welcome to the Starr Midday News. Thank you very much for your time. So, President Akufo-Addo has refuted the Ejapadia document, calling it misinformation or disinformation, saying that we should not give it any credence. Should this end the matter?
I don't know if it is my network that is terrible. It's bubbling within my ears, but I got you. But let me say good afternoon once again to your listeners. And the name is Dr. Jonathan Asante. Whether it is a disinformation or misinformation, this particular document did not come today. It has been in circulation. It is just that, unfortunately for the president and the party in government, it is gaining that kind of attraction today. And many Ghanaians are reading it and they are getting more infuriated by the content. And that's the more reason why the president was compelled to comment on. And he took the advantage given him for that particular, program of misinformation with respect to the upcoming or impending elections, 2024 elections, and use that, as a means of talking about this particular Ejapadia document.
So, moving forward, how do you suggest that the NPP handle the rumors that are going around and the documents circulating around, which is casting a negative impression or image of some groups within the NPP?
I don't really know what they can do, but I think that the more they talk about it, then obviously it is harming their campaign strategy because the attention of the Ghanaian populace will be drawn to that. But
yeah, hello, Jonathan. Your line is breaking a bit, so we can hardly hear what you're saying.
Is it better?
Yes, it's a bit better now.
So I'm saying that any level-headed, any mild-mannered person or Ghanaian who reads this document will be infuriated and angry at the way some group of persons, have sat somewhere and have hatched it. Now, the reason why I don't know what they will be able to do is the fact that it appears too coincidental that things that were said in the past are unraveling today. And so it is more of a design than just an accident. And so if they continue to talk about it, it will gain more attraction. And the president having commented on that, others will be interested because this document, as I said earlier on, did not come today. It was there before the 2020 election. And unfortunately, it is getting more attention today than previously. And that's the more reason why the president had to speak about it. But as to the strategy that they will adopt, I don't really know. To talk about it, it has its own positives and negatives. Not to talk about it, but it gives credence to the document as being very authentic, especially when things that have been said in the past are unraveling today.
Well, what kind of effect do you think it will have on the fortunes of the NPP going into this election?
What do you mean?
I'm asking what kind of effect this is likely to have on the NPP as a party going into this year's elections.
It gives the impression that a group of persons definitely want to engage in state capture. If that is the case, what is left of the other tribes in this country? So definitely it is going to have a negative effect on the party's chances of 2024 elections. Although we know that the economy, issues of joblessness, education, and other things rank a little higher than all other indicators. Some of these basic things, go a long way to harm the chances. And I think that, if I'm not exaggerating, it will affect them in the 2024 election.
Very well, Jonathan Santi. We're grateful that you've spoken to us here on the Star Midday News.
You're welcome.
Jonathan Asante is a political analyst at the University of Cape Coast. Now, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Johnson Nyarko Boampong, has called the bluff of the university's council chair over his purported termination. Yesterday, a widely circulated letter asserted the governing council of the university had terminated the appointment of the Vice Chancellor despite being given a 2-year extension in July 2023. The release, among others, is said the extension was unconstitutional and directed the Chancellor to immediately hand over his office to the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the school. Management of the university has since refuted the claims. The UCC chapter of UTAG has since condemned the actions of the council chair, Professor Harold S. Amonu Kofi. Dr. Jerry Opukwansa is the president of UTAG UCC.
He said the governing council and statutes 4.1 of the University of Cape Coast clearly states council or prescribed council. Council is made up of bodies or a group which is chaired by someone appointed by the government, and so UTAG has a rep, or unions and other relevant bodies have rep. So council per our statute is not an individual person; it is a group. And so if a reference is made of a council decision, it should be the decision of the group. It is not one person making that statement. And so that is why we have that issue with the letter that is the chairman has written. We believe that it is a unilateral decision. The chairman has acted ultra vires, and so he has to do the needful and retract the letter, so that if there's any issue on the appointment of the vice chancellor, currently it's in court for 60 years. Somebody is contesting that by next year, September, when he will be 60, he cannot stay in office. And court is a body that can determine this. And so we believe that the chairman should have brought the matter to council.
Now, the main man in question, Professor Johnson Nyarko Boampong, has served notice to continue to remain at post, citing the failure of the chair to convene a meeting over the matter. Here are excerpts of that letter.
You purport to unilaterally terminate my appointment as Vice-Chancellor of this noble university, whilst acknowledging that the Governing Council of the university has renewed my contract for 2 years. It must be put on record that the University Governing Council has not taken a decision on my renewal of appointment, and that this decision is a unilateral decision with no basis in law, that this decision was made by you alone, without recourse to other members of the Governing Council, and no meeting has been held on this subject of termination of appointment. In the circumstances, I do not regard this letter as a decision of council and will therefore ignore same as non-binding and will not carry out the instructions indicated therein. Your letter has no effect and I will continue to act as the Vice-Chancellor in accordance with the mandate that was given to me by the Governing Council properly constituted.
President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo has once again repeated an episode in Odododiodio in the run-up to the 2020 elections where he mistakenly introduced Nilante Bannerman as Nilante Vanderpoel. This time around, the president is linking his administration to the administration of former President Mahama. In the following report, Elik Plimaoku draws the similarities between President Akufo-Addo and his American colleagues.
I ask you to be citizens, not spectators.
President Akufo-Addo has always had something in common with the President of the United States of America. It started during his inauguration on 7th January 2017, where he charged Ghanaians to be citizens and not spectators.
The change can and should start now and with us as individuals. I ask you to be citizens, not spectators, citizens, not subjects.
Thanks to internet sleuths, however, Ghanaians came to realize this charge was initially a call to Americans by former President George W. Bush in 2001.
I ask you to be citizens, not spectators, citizens, not subjects.
Another paragraph of the same speech quoted Bill Clinton's 1993 speech, substituting Americans for Ghanaians.
Americans have ever been a restless, questing, hopeful people.
Ghanaians have ever been a restless, questing, hopeful.
Now, there's a third American president President Akufo-Addo shares similarity with, Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe, as he has come to be known, became the butt of the joke repeatedly for his misnaming gaffes. It was a bizarre moment when Biden introduced Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, as Russia's Vladimir Putin.
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
President Putin. He's going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky.
This faux pas is no different from President Akufo-Addo calling the wrong Nilante in the heat of the 2020 campaign. Well, he's done it again, tagging his administration, the Akufo-Addo Mahama government.
Since January 2017 till date, i.e. in the Akufo-Addo Mahama Bawumia era.
Nilante Vanderpoel went on to retain the Odododiodio seat after the episode. Can the same be said about former President Mahama? The answer will be provided after 7th December. After all, we might just be reading meanings into these incidents.
That's unforgivable. That's unforgivable. I hope you will allow me to withdraw that statement. The Akufo-Addo Bawumia era.
And that's Elik Plimaoku's report there. Now, former local government minister and immediate past chairman of the NDC, Dr. Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, has downplayed the significance of the road ministry's flagship program dubbed Maintain My Road Initiative. According to him, the initiative, which encourages citizens to capture deplorable roads and report for fixing, is impractical. The road ministry this week launched the program to help address the poor road infrastructure in the country. But Dr. Ofuswampofo is skeptical about its success. He spoke to Bulari on Star Chat.
I was listening to all the noise that was being made about this road making equipment. It was under my leadership as local government minister that I introduced that concept.
What Minister Sensu has introduced now?
I say I introduced it in 2016. We imported.
Did you have a short code for people to text?
I say
that we'll fix your roads for you.
It's not a matter of short. You see, some of these things, they are just. You are going to use short code to ask people to fix roads. Does it work that way? I mean, this.
But the world is digital now.
Because we are going to an election, somebody gets up and says that you use short code.
You think it's an election promise?
You open the short code and then go the next day and solve the problem. You see, governance is a very serious business. 103.5. And so people must not trivialize it.
Well, the ex-NDC chairman also mounted a spirited defense for the party's proposed 24-hour economy.
Any nation that sleeps becomes a poor country.
So for all these years that we are not practicing the 24-hour economy, we are sleeping as a country.
We are poor because we sleep. We work 8 hours and we sleep. We sleep. The whole night everybody is sleeping. And when you sleep as a nation, you become a poor country.
You didn't know that in 1992? You didn't know that in 2008 that we are a sleeping nation because you are not practicing 24-hour economy?
That is why society is progressive. And so you move from one level
dynamic
to another level. And another level and another level.
So you've done an analysis.
The more your economy is growing, the more you are expanding your economy.
Samuel Ofuswampofo is former chairman for the NDC. Now, Service Ghana Auto Group Limited has refuted allegations of inflated costs in its contract for after-sales services and maintenance of 307 ambulances. In a statement released to respond to claims by the Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, who alleged financial improprieties over the procurement and maintenance of the ambulances, Service Ghana Auto Group Limited says the allegations raised by the MP are baseless and unfounded. Here are excerpts of their response to the allegations.
Service Ghana in the statement said the initial competitive procurement process was initiated by the Ministry of Special Development Initiatives in November 2018. The process invited tenders for 275 units of 4x4 ambulances and later varied to 4x2 for 307 vehicles. The press release also emphasized the consortium's compliance with all tender requirements, including obtaining the manufacturer's authorization from Mercedes-Benz. Service Ghana further stated that they had established a dedicated workshop and support infrastructure, including the renovation of the Ministry of Agriculture's workshop in Kumasi and a purpose-built workshop at the national headquarters of the National Ambulance Service in Accra. Additionally, Service Ghana addressed the findings of a 2022 performance audit by the Auditor General, which had reportedly highlighted issues such as inflated invoices and mismanagement.
It's now time for us to bring you sports on the Star Midday News. Jones Aji is in the studio with the details. Jones, what's in sports?
All right, so to the Olympics, where Ghana's African Games champion Rose Amwinimayewa has failed to make automatic qualifications into the finals of the women's high jump event after 3 unsuccessful attempts at 1.92 meters. Rose started brightly when she cleared a height of 1.83 meters at the first attempt and later cleared a height of 1.88 meters at a third attempt. She was, however, unsuccessful in the 1.92 meters in all 3 attempts. Rose, however, has a slim chance of qualifying if any of the athletes in Group B fail to make 1.92 meters, which is highly unlikely. Now to Ghana football, where President Ket Okreku has met FIFA president in a massive boost for Ghana football. FIFA president Gianni Infantino held a historic meeting with Ket Okreku at the FIFA office in Paris, France. The meeting was at the behest of the FIFA president, who had invited him to meet with the FIFA president to discuss matters related to the development of the game both in Ghana and on the African continent. President Ket, speaking during the meeting, praised Infantino and his administration. He said, as the president of a federation, I am also very clear on the vision of FIFA, and together we are both sharing the same vision. All our national teams are now competitive. He added that we've gone ahead to also introduce more youth competitions and more youth national teams. Our youth national teams are also on the rise again, and all our domestic competitions are back on track and are held in timely manner. I also think the outlook looks very good for Ghana football there. All right, so with that, will be all for sports. My name is Jules Aji.
Thank you very much, Jones, for bringing us the details in sports. And major trade associations in the country have expressed confidence that the newly passed Ghana Shippers Authority law will help to address recurring challenges expressed by the shippers over the years. They made this known during a meeting with the GSA on the implementation of the new GSA law. Now, the law is expected to empower the GSA to protect the interests of shippers and shipping services providers and improve its regulatory oversight of the entire industry. Dr. Humphrey Ayim Dake is the president of the Association of Ghana Industries.
The Association of Ghana Industries, situated in the shipper's position or the principal agent position, we believe it's a welcoming document, a welcoming act to strengthen the business community in two ways. To the shipper, it gives us the capacity to engage with our agents in a very equitable manner. The role of the Shippers Authority is well defined. They become a form of a referee to aid us create the equity that is needed in the cost of doing business, especially from the port of entry, where our various costs that feeds into our productions are raised by virtue of the agent's role. So we welcome this document. Going forward, as explained by the Minister and the CEO, an airline will be developed, and we will contribute to this airline to deepen the mechanism of implementation.
Well, the president of the Ghana Union Traders Association, GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obing, is hopeful that operationalization of the new law will positively impact the cost of doing business in Ghana.
We have been propagating the fact that we are facing so many challenges at the port, especially from the shipping lines that we deal with. And so we have been propagating all this while that we revise their laws so that they can have proper mandate to control. Cost of doing business in this country is just too high. And that if this act seeks to empower Ghana Shippers Authority to do just that for us, to make sure that some controls are brought to bear so that they can approve of some of these charges or disapprove.
And that's it for the Star Midday News here on Star 103.5 FM. For more news, log on to starfm.com.gh. Also take a look at our social media handles at Star 103.5 FM on Facebook, X, and Instagram. My name is Lantam Papanko. Enjoy the rest of our programs.